Well, hello everybody, Newbornkilik here, welcoming you back to another stupid urban story. Now, it's been a while since we found ourselves a super special, super amazing, fantastic story to read here on this segment, and that's because the Creepypasta wiki, unfortunately, got the axe, it got the Nerf hammer directly into the ground. The Creepypasta wiki no longer exists, which basically means I have to go to the Creepypasta wiki and pick through for those extra special stories. So, today I have an amazing story called a very bold and adventurous title. So since I took this off of the Creepypasta wiki instead of the Creepypasta wiki, I just want to put a small disclaimer saying I have nothing against the author. In fact, I wish them the best of luck, but I'm going to tear this story apart, and at the end I'll give a fair critique of what I thought of it. I guess what I'm really saying is, don't take this too seriously, it's nothing personal. And with that out of the way, let us begin The Legend of Zelda. Author here has been a fan of Zelda his entire life. I've loved and played nearly every game, from Ocarina of Time to Twilight Princess. Okay, so you missed a lot of them. Like a lot of them. But this was written a while ago, let's hear author out. Link and Zelda had practically raised me, so, naturally, when I found out that Nintendo was releasing Skyward Sword, I wanted to play it, as anyone else would at the time. After all, no one would have thought motion controls could have gone poorly after they played Twilight Princess with them. Real talk though, the motion controls in Skyward Sword actually were a lot better in my opinion, so, you know, to each their own, but I rather liked Skyward Sword. Side note, on release day, author was one of the first people at the store. Author had brought every dollar that author had with him. Semicolon. Wow, is this a semicolon in my creepypasta? This is an internet story, not a page from Harvard. Anyway, I had even borrowed from my friends and family. Surely that would have been enough for the game, which I wanted and needed so dearly. However, my everything was not enough. What I had in my pocket was not enough for my beloved game. Because I didn't know that this was going to be a full-priced $60 game, or was it $50 at that point? Not important. But what I didn't know was to think about my actions and know exactly how much the game was going to cost. Anywho's it's what. Disheartened, I began to walk slowly home. Standing right outside the shop was an old man. Because that's every creepypasta ever. There's an old man, there's a strange game somewhere in it. Anyway, the man was smiling brightly like it was the best day in the world. Of course it was for him. He had a copy of Skyward Sword in his hand. I wonder what he's going to do with it. Is he going to sell it to you for an abnormally small amount of money? Why else is he relevant to the story? But this man was a normal-looking guy, a person you could see in the street passing by and never really notice. But there was something off about him that I could not put my finger on. As I stared at him, he looked right at me and his smile got even brighter. I showed him a finger that told him exactly what I thought of his happiness, because I'm a sad man who hates constantly without Zelda. I can relate if we're being totally honest, but moving forward, I depressingly made my way home, thinking maybe I could borrow a copy from one of my friends. After all, I just flipped off a perfectly good human being who just happened to have $5 more than me because he knows how much games cost. When was this written? Hold on. Okay, so there's no date, but still, you should know how much a game costs, especially if you're such a Zelda fan. But then author remembered hardly any of his friends were gamers. Is that some poppin' gamer I see in there? Anyway, none of them played Zelda. Get rid of them right now. They're useless to you. Semicolon yet again. You watch Rick and Morty by chance? Anyway, they were too busy playing stupid games like Halo and Call of Duty. You watch your mouth, young man. Call of Duty's whatever, but Halo is sacred, okay? Anyway, as I moped some more, I noticed an old man. It was the same old man as before, just standing there, minding his own business, staring at me, menacingly, if you get the reference. Still holding the copy of Skyward Sword, still smiling. New paragraph, by the way, still smiling. But this end of sentence as well. I'm really hung up on this two-word sentence. Capital S, still smiling, period. Done with the sentence there. We gave up so quickly. still smiling, period. But this time, he was holding the game out slightly towards me. This guy was starting to really creep me out, so I looked down and walked faster. I glanced up after a few steps, and he was right in front of me, practically shoving the game up my nose. I have a really big nose. I stopped, startled by his sudden appearance. Shoving games up people's noses? Don't you know that's bad behavior? What do you want? I yelled. Why do you keep following me? In response, he smiled even wider and tapped me on the chest with the game. Assault. Call it assault. Get away from this man. Assault. Okay? Author said, do you want me to have this? I said, no response. Tentatively. Ooh, that's a fun word. Tentatively. But yes, tentatively, I took the game box from him. As soon as I grabbed it, the old man's smile disappeared. Thinking it was a trick, I quickly opened the box. The plastic was off, but I didn't take any notice of it. First warning flag right there, the man has opened this game and infused it with spooky, scary skeletons and demons. That should have been your first trip. You should know better by now, okay? You should know better. But author just really wanted the game. Inside was the game. And nothing seemed wrong with it. Not that you would know because you've never had a copy of it yourself. Anyway, author turned it over to look at the reflective side, looking for any blemishes or scratches. You know, if you're getting a free game, it had better be pristine, okay? What is this guy hoping for? Like, he's gonna turn the disc around and see like there's blood splattered all over it, like someone Beybladed it into someone's eye socket? No, it's gonna be fine. Unless there's Sharpie on it, in which case you turn and you run immediately 180 degrees away from that man. But author says again, there were no blemishes or scratches, of course, except for the back of it was darker than it should have been. Not that you would know. I took no notice of this, however. Then why did you bring it up? In the place where there should have been the game pamphlets. Like there usually are. You haven't played a game recently, have you, pal? Those are gone. Are they? Yes! Yeah, they're gone. No pamphlets here. You'll find that nonsense online, pal. But we continue. There was a singular piece of folded up, college-ruled notebook paper, too much information, but thank you, now I have a very clear picture of that, I suppose. On it were only 2 words. Those 2 words have haunted me ever since. It seemed like nothing at the time, but it severely frightens me now. The 2 words on it read, good luck. Wow, insightful. I looked up to thank the man, but he had disappeared. Okay, well, bye. I practically ran home, bursting with excitement at the man that I just flipped off. Decided to give me a free game. That's the best. That's the strategy. If you want free stuff, flip people off. Anyway, moving forward, through some miracle of fate, I had still managed to acquire a copy of Skyward Sword. I burst into my house, heading straight for the TV. It's not gonna know what hit it. Neither of my parents were home, but that was all right with me. I turned on the Wii and inserted the game into it. My hands were shaking with excitement, but I froze in awe. The title screen popped up. I could instinctively tell that the game was going to exceed my expectations. And then it was Skyward Sword, and people didn't really like it. But I had no idea how right I was. Pat yourself on the back a little bit more, pal. Maybe if I had ignored the man at the shop or hadn't taken the game from him, none of this would have ever happened, and I would have been all right. Too late now. I opened the game, seeing nothing wrong with it, except for all of the spooky ghost portals that are leading directly into the code of the game. It played fine as far as I could tell. I started a new game file under my name and began to play. I noticed nothing wrong, no glitches, nothing. Except for one thing. I was talking with Gabora near the beginning of the game after Zelda had been kidnapped. He told me good luck. How dare he wish me luck on this wonderful adventure that I'm about to partake in? And when he did, his eyes looked straight at me for a split second. Not at my character, Link, but directly at me. Someone is a little self-centered at the moment. It was only briefly, but I was sure it was right at me, thinking, hoping, that it was just a glitch. I continued to play foolishly, but understandable. I played for hours without any problems. It took you hours to get through the Skyview? That's fair, I suppose. I got all the way through the Skyview Temple where you first fight Lord Gerahim. During the cutscene before, I actually began to fight him. The game froze and my TV emitted a long, loud, high-pitched beep. Fearing the worst, I shut off the Wii console. I waited about 5 minutes to let the Wii cool down. That's all the time it needs, and hopefully fix whatever caused it to freeze. I turned it back on and returned to the title screen, only to see that my game file had been completely deleted. Disgusted, I shut down the Wii for the night and went to bed, planning on playing the entire next day, as it was Saturday. Meanwhile, his parents are still probably abducted in the back of a van somewhere. Who knows where they went, but he's fine. He's got Skyward Sword. It's fine. It's fine. I did not sleep very well that night, though I could not put my finger on whatever was keeping me from relaxing. Perhaps it was me wanting to play the game, or disappointment at having to restart from the very beginning. You know, that whole 30 or 45 minutes of gameplay you actually accomplished. It was around 10 o'clock when I finally woke up in the morning. I would have worded that sentence like a human being does. It was around 10 o'clock in the morning when I finally woke up. But let's go with your thing. And my parents still weren't home. I still wasn't very worried by this, because all that I could think about was playing Skyward Sword. They're dead now, almost surely. Let's play some Skyward Sword. Anyway, Arthur turned it on, ready to start his game anew. However, when I reached the title screen, instead of the bright and happy sky with white fluffy clouds, there were dark, ominous clouds. You know, the opposite of what it was this morning. Spooky ghosts are in the cartridge. It's not a cartridge, it's a CD. Spooky ghosts are in the CD now. Thinking it was just a texture glitch, I kept playing. I started a new game, again with my own name. But as soon as I started, I noticed things were horribly wrong. First of all of the clouds in the sky were dark and stormy instead of the white, fluffy clouds, just like the title screen. Wait, yeah, they were dark like it's a storm, dude. Chill. I know, game mode, but I need this. And all the music was Lord Girahim's theme music. As an upgrade as far as I'm concerned. I hoped it was just flitching out. That's right, flitching out. But I knew it wasn't. My entire body was cold, and my hands were shaking. Weak arms are heavy. Vomit on my sweater already. His mother's pasta. I wanted to stop playing, but I couldn't. I was transfixed, unable to move from where I sat. I knew I had to play this game until this game let me go. Everything played pretty normally, except for the spooky ghost clouds up in the sky, until I reached the part where you need to rescue your bird, where it's in a cage in the side of a cliff. I reached the cage, but instead of my bird sitting there, squawking, it was silent. As I approached it, I saw it lying on the ground. I got closer. Full sentence, I got closer. Okay. But Arthur saw that it had its neck snapped right in half, and it was laying in a pool of its own blood. I realized I was trapped on the island. As I turned around to leave, I saw Lord Girahim standing there. I couldn't move. I could only stand there. Then Lord Girahim chuckled, and a text box appeared. It read,
"What do you want to do?"
There were two options.
Leave.
And
fight.
Of course I selected leave. I did not want to fight him. Two words appeared, and Girahim looked straight at me, just like Gibora did. They read, "Good luck." Suddenly I could move again, but as I did, I froze again, so I couldn't move again. Perfect. I heard a familiar giggling, and it chilled my blood. I started to sweat, further chilling my blood. Rising up from the clouds behind Girahim was Skull Kid, complete with Majora's mask. What was he doing here? He couldn't be here. He's not allowed. It wasn't possible. But then again, nothing so far was. Yeah, it's definitely not possible for your bird to die. Especially, wait, did someone put him in the cage and then snap his neck? Or snap his neck and then go through the trouble of putting him in a cage? What? How would they boarded it up? Did they put him in there, snap his neck, and then board it up? I have a lot of questions that aren't being answered, and I suppose you wouldn't know the answer either, but these are the things that I'm asking. Anywho's it's what? Skull Kid looked at Girahim and then burst into flames because reasons. Arthur screamed at this part. Arthur couldn't help it after all. It was just some primitive fear that took a hold of me. Skull Kid's burning corpse fell down, back below the clouds, still laughing. The mask floated towards Girahim and settled on his face, and then it spoke. Not through text boxes, but actually spoke. Its voice was deep, and it echoed around the room. I tried to mute the TV, but nothing happened. I even unplugged it, but still the game played on. Did you try building a fence around it, or putting a blanket over the top, perhaps? You could have done more.
Let's play a game.
It said.
Good luck.
Then Girahim/Majora rushed forwards and grabbed Link by his head and legs and pulled with ease and ripped him apart all the time. What? Oh, sorry. So this part ended, and then it goes directly into another part that should be a continuation of that sentence, but is not. Let's try that again. It pulled it. They. Pick a pronoun, dude. It's not an it. All right. Rude. But Grajora pulled with ease and ripped him apart, all the time. Good luck was echoed in the background. Link emitted such a scream of pain as his entrails spilled out that I ran out of the house, leaving the demonic game behind. You missed a QTE, apparently. Also, you will probably respawn. And I'm really glad you decided to leave the game around your other games to corrupt them and put spooky ghosts in all of your other CDs and cartridges. What are you doing, dude? You gotta protect your livelihood. Next sentence. They found me 2 hours later. I don't know who found him, but they found me huddled up in an alley, muttering incoherent things. My parents had been gone on a business trip. That's where they were. Okay, this all makes a lot more sense now. They're still probably dead, realistically, but, author says, and apparently they had bought me a copy of Skyward Sword, hoping to surprise me with it. They discovered me missing, with our front door open, and called the police. Of course they did. When they took me back home, I freaked out when I saw the game and started crying and pointing at the Wii. They checked it, but it was empty. Spooky ghosts stole your game. They checked. I've been to countless therapy sessions, but none of them have helped. The entire Zelda series has been ruined. And those words, those 2 words, I'm telling this to warn you. Do not take any men. Fucked up the sentence. Bad. Do not take any men from strange games, children. No, do not take any games from strange men. This is all an extension of don't take candy from strangers, okay? Just saying, your mama told you, okay? And you ignored that because you wanted to play Skyward Sword, and now you're paying the consequences for it. Oh, sorry, I missed a little bit down here. Good luck. Alright, okay, story has concluded. So, what do I think of this story? Well, it's not bad. I mean, I'm usually pretty lighthearted about these kinds of things. And, you know, it has a beginning, a middle, a climax, and an end. So, it's a story. As far as, you know, how well it was put together, again, not bad in my opinion. I'm not the best kind of person for critiquing these things. I just like being a jerkbag to them. Of course, no one's feelings are meant to be hurt at the end of the day, but yes, I kind of get the hint this person just didn't like Skyward Sword and was really trying to zing him with it. But my main problem is, has this man never played like an M-rated video game, like a really, really gory video game? I get that, you know, if you're expecting some classic Zelda playing, and all of a sudden, you know, Link gets split in half by a Dekubaba stem that shot across the map because Ganondorf was over there throwing plants at the wall, it's gonna do, you know, it's gonna do something. But countless therapy sessions, is that what it's gonna take? There were no repercussions outside of some spooky, scary stuff happening inside the game. Oh, some of the characters look at you. That's pretty spooky. Sure. Countless therapy sessions? I don't know. Like most of the time with these stories, there's some kind of real world problem going on. Like, okay, the game was gone. Great. Usually a doll shoots out from the TV and eats your bladder or something, and then you have to live your life without a bladder. Like, that is a real world consequence that would take multiple therapy sessions to get through, assuming you avoided death at that point. But again, I don't mean to be too harsh on it. It is, of course, just a for fun story. Let me know if there are any other stupid urban stories or any troll pastas or creepypastas that you think I should take a look at and are worthy of the Stupid Urban Stories series. Anyway, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I'm Newbornkilik, and I will see you in the next one. I'm out.